So I finally finished the Willful Child, The Search for Spark. Now this was a long one. Um, I don't know how to tell this joke. I'm gonna spoil one of the, not major plot points, but one of the, what I thought was the most hilarious joke, just the stupidest, just the silliest gag I've ever seen in written fiction. So the book is called The Search for Spark, and you're like, oh, it's a play off The Search for Spock. He's going to riff off that movie this time. So you open the book, The Search for Spark. Okay, Spark being the robot dog. Whatever. Yes, The Search for Spark. Chapter 1, Stardate whatever. Random system. Now again, maybe you want to experience this for yourself, but I experienced this by waking up early one morning. Before I went to take the book with me on my day, I was like, okay, starting this, I'm going to put my bookmark in where to start. So I opened it up to this, and I saw this page, and so I read this page. And it's essentially the bridge of the Willful Child, the crew that we know and love, all hanging around, and then Captain Sawback goes, "Where's Spark?" And Spark barks, it's like, "Oh, I'm over here." "Oh, okay, cool." And that's it. Get it? The search for Spark. He was like, "Where's Spark?" And then there's Spark. And so that's on one page, and then you turn the page and bonus novel. So the search for Spark is this one page. It's a one-page novel, which I've never, just cracked me up. And then the rest of this is actually the bonus novel, The Undiscovered Bunny, which is a play on The Undiscovered Country. And again, The Undiscovered Bunny, the very last page of the book, as the Willful Child leaves, it says, "And they never saw the bunny." So the bunny was never discovered. It was the undiscovered bunny, because of course if they discovered it, then it would be the discovered bunny, or discovering the bunny. But no, this is the undiscovered bunny. Anyways, so it's just the silliest gag. Like, this whole book is one page, but then there's a bonus novel, which is the actual book. But it just threw me. It was like 6 a.m. and I'm like, where does the novel start? I mean, you'd see this if you picked it up in a bookstore. I don't know, I just thought it was hilarious. So this one has a lot of stuff like that. Not meta. I don't know what the word for it is, but a lot of breaking the fourth wall. Like, for example, when they're in T-space, where whatever you imagine pops into reality, they find a planet, and they describe it in a way that I'm like, oh, it's a Nazi planet, with like a riff off the Nazis. But then it turns out, oh, it's not actually, no, it's not Nazis at all. And then it's something, the book says something to the effect of, why? What did you think it was? And then, like, they sort of turn to face you in the book, the reader. And then a Nazi planet does appear, ostensibly because you, the reader, were thinking of this, because they wrote it in a way to make you think of it, and then you thinking it created it in this fictional universe. Just absurd stuff like that. And I mean, at one point, he's making a riff. I think it was the book about the Flea Wars, when he says, published by Tom Doherty Associates, which is the Tor, the publisher, so the real life publisher. And then it says something for inquiries, call 1-800 you're in it now, Erikson, or something. He uses his own name in the book. It's just so silly. And it continues the Willful Child, Hadrian and crew adventure of just silliness upon silliness that we've seen in the previous two books. This one riffing off of, I assume it's the Undiscovered Country, when they're Spock and Kirk, or Hadrian and Buck in this case, are sentenced in a sham trial and have to mine on a prison planet that's frozen ice tunnels, but looks oddly like Northern California. Anyways, so that happens. They escape. They go and meet God. was, what does God need with a starship? Well, he says in this book, oh yeah, that's what he says. What do I need with the starship? So they meet God at the end. I'm not going to go through it step by step by step. It's a delight. It is really a delight, and it's such a light read. Like, you don't. I mean, he's like, he cannot be any more on the nose with everything he says. He's just hammering it, but it's funny that way. And this one's a lot of his, I don't know, I want to say philosophy or it's a lot of Erikson writing about what is wrong with the world and how just ridiculous humanity is, and our how messed up our value system is, and how we are destroying ourselves and our communities and our environments, and just destroying everything while we drool over pixelated screens. And I'm not going to get into it, but it's interesting. It came out the same year. This was published the same year as Rejoice, a Knife to the Heart, and I see a lot of similar themes and ideas. Maybe not similar themes and ideas. That's kind of silly, but you can. I mean, it's written by the same author. Maybe that's the only connection there is. But there's a lot of the same sort of thing. Like, I don't know if Erikson. I don't know if he wrote these two at the same time. But if he did, I wonder if he was having like not an existential crisis, but sort of a. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, he's right. Maybe I enjoy it because I know it's not a team. Everything becomes a team sort of thing now. It's like, oh, he wrote stuff that I agree with, so I'm on his side. He's on my team, so I agree with him. He wrote a lot of stuff that's true. That our value system is so messed up, and how we. I hear there are people out there that think that Erikson's like a right-wing hardline. Like, how do you get that from reading anything he's written? Anyways, let's not get into that. I'm all over the place, and I'm not making any sort of coherent sense. Yeah, this one is probably my favorite of the three, honestly. I guess they just keep getting better and better. It ends with God giving Erikson giving Hadrian a gun that if you shoot someone with it, it turns them into a nice, decent person, and it's his goal now to go back to the affiliation, the Federation, and shoot everyone with it. And it's a mission that will take 8 billion years to accomplish, because there's so many people out there, I guess, and he can only shoot one at a time. But maybe that's the message: is that yes, it will take 1 billion years, but if we can become better people, one person at a time, we too can save humanity. Yeah, the search for Spark, and then the Undiscovered Bunny, that just cracked me up. And there's this weird sort of side plot of the Crown Prince of the Clang, who took over Captain Hans Olo's vessel in the last novel. There were sort of interludes throughout this book where he would be firing at this ship and then asking his crew, is there still life signs? And every time they would say, yes, there's very faint life signs. And he'd be like, great, fire again. And that happened about 8 times through the novel until the very end, when this bigger ship showed up and just annihilated them. And I'm not sure what that means, or what that was in reference to, or what that was all about. But I mean, that happened. I'm sure there's tons of stuff in here, tons of references that just go over my head, and movies and shows that I haven't seen. Oh yeah, there was Alien reference, like the Alien film in there. Riddick. I did not see Riddick coming, but there's a whole bit about the Chronicles of Riddick reference, which was incredible. We had the night crew over on the Willful Child, which were like Odo Meter and Captain. He didn't call him Benjamin Disco, which I would have went with, but it was Sissy Co something. And the Trilling, and essentially the Deep Space Nine crew, and the baseball. You have to read this. And like at one point when Captain Hadrian gets taken prisoner, the new captain is this like short, bald guy named John Lucky Placard. It's just chock full of stuff, and like I said, the Riddick reference really got me. It's like Floridian, he was called, not like spelled like Floridian. Which in Riddick, what were they actually called? Furians, Floridian. Um, yeah, I think that was really well done. And then yeah, a bit about aliens with mouths within mouths that drip acid and yeah. Anyways, just hilarious. Anyone who knows anything about sci-fi, especially Star Trek, has to read this series. You just have to. It's I mean, yeah, there was a whole bit about. I don't. Anyways, that's enough of that. Really, really enjoyed this one. Absolute treat.